Have you ever wondered what life is really like inside a nursing home? We often hear about the benefits, round-the-clock care, companionship, and a safe environment for aging individuals. But what is it really like to live in a nursing home? As someone who made the decision to move into one at the age of 81, I can tell you firsthand that the reality is far different from what I expected. While I thought that being in a nursing home would offer comfort, security, and peace of mind, I found that it brought with it feelings of loneliness, loss of freedom, and a lack of the personalized care I had hoped for. In today's video, I'll be sharing my personal story and explaining the reasons why, after moving into a nursing home, I found myself regretting the decision. I'm going to take you through the struggles that no one tells you about when you decide to live in a nursing home. Everything from the isolation, the feeling of losing control over your life, and even the quality of care that doesn't always meet expectations. If you're considering this decision for yourself or a loved one, I highly recommend you stay tuned until the end to hear the full picture. The truth is, while nursing homes are often portrayed as the ideal solution for older adults, the reality can be very different. Many of the challenges are things that are often brushed aside or not openly discussed, but they can have a significant impact on your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. So if you're contemplating life in a nursing home, or even if you're just curious about what it's truly like, I encourage you to watch this video until the end. I want to share the lessons I've learned along the way, the mistakes I made, and what I wish I had known before making the decision. This is a topic that needs more honest conversations, and I'm here to tell you everything no one told me when I made this choice. Stay with me until the end, because what I share today could help you make a more informed decision about your own future or the future of a loved one. I know you are a person who likes to watch videos quietly. If you have not liked and subscribed to the channel, now is a good time to do it because you are a kind person. If the video is helpful, press 1. If the video is not good enough or needs improvement, press 2. Thanks everyone. Now let's get started. Number 1, the reality of loneliness in a nursing home. Let me share a story about Mrs. Linda, a 75-year-old woman who, after losing her husband, decided to move into a nursing home for the sense of community and support she thought she would receive. Linda had always been independent, but after a series of health issues, she thought a nursing home would be the best place for her to get the care she needed. At first, Linda was excited about the idea of meeting new people and having a group of peers to interact with every day. She imagined playing card games, chatting with friends over meals, and taking part in group activities. However, after settling in, Linda quickly realized that loneliness was something she couldn't escape, even with all the people around her. She started noticing that, despite being surrounded by others, she felt more isolated than ever. The scheduled activities were often repetitive, and while she was technically with people, there was very little meaningful interaction. The people around her were either too ill to engage or stuck in their rooms, just like her. And although the staff was attentive, they were busy and didn't have time for much socializing. For Linda, who had spent most of her life with a loving partner, children, and friends, this deep feeling of isolation was overwhelming. She never expected that being surrounded by people would make her feel so alone. Why does loneliness happen in a nursing home? You might assume that being in a place with so many others would naturally lead to connection, but that's often not the case. Many nursing homes have a set schedule and fixed routines that don't leave much room for spontaneous interaction. People are often in their own rooms doing their own thing and don't always have the energy or motivation to connect with others. Even during meals, you might find yourself sitting at a table with others, but not truly having meaningful conversations. Over time, this can lead to feelings of isolation, as the lack of connection and companionship weighs heavily on emotional well-being. The science behind this loneliness is deeply linked to the human need for connection and social interaction. Research has shown that social isolation can lead to a decline in mental and physical health, particularly in older adults. It increases the risk of depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline. When you don't have strong, supportive relationships around you, it can feel like your life is slipping by without the deep emotional connections that are essential for a fulfilling life. Here's what I wish Linda had known before she moved. It's important to assess the social environment of a nursing home before deciding to move in. Talk to current residents and their families to get a sense of how people connect with one another. Does the facility offer social clubs, events, or opportunities for residents to interact? Even if you're not someone who loves big social gatherings, knowing that there's a chance to connect with others in meaningful ways can make a world of difference. A quick tip: if you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, consider visiting a few times before making a decision. Try to observe the atmosphere and talk to residents about their social lives. This will help you get a sense of the community you might be joining and whether it's the right fit for you. The feeling of loneliness can be more profound than many realize, and it's something that needs to be openly discussed before moving into a nursing home. Now that we've touched on the issue of loneliness, let's move on to another difficult aspect of nursing home life: the loss of freedom. Stay with me to learn how losing control over your day-to-day life can make you feel trapped, even in what seems like a safe place. Number 2, the loss of freedom, a feeling of being trapped. Let me tell you about Mr. William, a 78-year-old man who had always been an active and independent person. He spent his whole life managing his own schedule, deciding when to eat, when to exercise, and when to go out. He enjoyed taking walks in the park, visiting friends, and going on spontaneous trips whenever the mood struck him. However, after a fall that resulted in an injury, William found himself in a position where he needed more help with daily activities. He decided to move into a nursing home, thinking it would offer him the care he needed while allowing him to continue living comfortably. At first, William thought the nursing home would be a place where he could still maintain his independence while receiving the care he required. But soon he began to realize that his freedom was no longer his own. He had to adhere to a strict schedule. Meals were served at specific times. He had to follow a set routine for his medications, and he couldn't come and go as he pleased. Even something as simple as taking a walk in the garden was no longer a spontaneous decision. There were specific hours when the outdoor spaces were open, and if you missed the window, you had to wait until the next scheduled time. One day, William tried to go out to visit a friend, but he was told that he needed permission and assistance from staff members to leave the premises. He was shocked by this. He had spent his entire life making his own decisions about when and where to go. But now, in a place that was supposed to care for him, he was being told when he could and couldn't leave. This loss of autonomy, something he had always valued deeply, left him feeling trapped and helpless. His daily choices were no longer his to make. Why does this loss of freedom happen in nursing homes? In theory, nursing homes are designed to provide care for individuals who need assistance with their daily tasks, but this often comes at the cost of personal independence. With a set schedule, limited opportunities for flexibility, and strict rules about visitors, outings, and even simple activities like when to bathe or sleep, many residents end up feeling like they have little to no control over their lives. While this structure is intended to maintain order and provide care, it can feel suffocating to someone who is used to having the freedom to make their own decisions. The science behind this loss of freedom ties back to the psychological need for autonomy and control. Research shows that when older adults lose control over their daily lives, it can lead to feelings of helplessness, depression, and even physical decline. Having the ability to make decisions about one's own life is a critical aspect of maintaining mental and emotional well-being. Without it, people can feel like they have lost their sense of purpose or identity, which can ultimately contribute to a decline in both physical and mental health. Here's what I wish William had known before he moved into the nursing home. It's crucial to assess how much autonomy you'll have in your new living environment. Some nursing homes offer more freedom than others, with policies that allow residents to have more control over their schedules. Before making the decision, consider whether you're comfortable with the level of structure and whether you feel you'll still be able to live life on your own terms. It's important to ask questions about the schedule, visitation policies, and what kind of flexibility the facility offers. A quick tip: if you're considering a nursing home, don't be afraid to ask about daily routines and the level of control residents have over their day-to-day activities. Some homes may offer more autonomy, such as the ability to go out on your own or choose when you'd like to eat or sleep. Losing freedom and control over your daily life can be one of the hardest aspects of living in a nursing home. It can make you feel like you're no longer living on your own terms. But by knowing what to expect and asking the right questions beforehand, you can make a decision that gives you the balance of care and independence you need. Now that we've discussed the loss of freedom, let's move on to another challenging aspect of nursing home life: the quality of care. We all expect high standards of care, but what happens when that doesn't meet your expectations? Stay with me to learn why the level of care can sometimes fall short of what you're promised and how it can impact your overall experience. Number 3, the quality of care, not always what you expect. Let me share the story of Mrs. Evelyn, a 79-year-old woman who had spent her entire life taking care of others. She had been a nurse for over 40 years and always prided herself on her independence. But as she got older, her mobility became limited, and after a serious fall, her children encouraged her to move into a nursing home. They promised her that she would receive excellent care, something she had worked so hard to provide to others in her career. Evelyn was initially hopeful. She thought the nursing home would provide her with the level of care she needed: professional staff, tailored care plans, and a warm, supportive environment. But after settling in, she began to notice that the reality of the care didn't quite meet her expectations. While the nursing home appeared well-maintained and had friendly staff members, the actual care was inconsistent. There were times when Evelyn had to wait for hours for assistance, even for basic needs like going to the bathroom or taking her medication. The staff, though kind, were stretched thin, and Evelyn found herself feeling neglected during moments when she needed help the most. One instance that particularly stood out to Evelyn was when she experienced severe pain due to her arthritis. She pressed the call button and waited, but it took nearly an hour for someone to come and help her. In that hour, her pain intensified, and she felt frustrated and helpless. It was a feeling she wasn't used to. Having spent her life helping others, Evelyn now found herself in a position where she couldn't rely on others to take care of her when she needed it most. When the staff finally arrived, she was given pain relief, but the emotional toll of that hour lingered long after. Why does the quality of care fall short in some nursing homes? The reality is that many nursing homes are understaffed, and the staff that is present often has too many residents to care for. As a result, the amount of time and attention each resident receives can be limited. While nursing homes are supposed to provide personalized care, in many cases, this simply isn't possible due to the high number of residents needing assistance at the same time. Overworked staff can lead to delays in care, missed medical treatments, and sometimes even neglect. The level of care you receive can vary greatly depending on the resources available and how much attention the staff can give to each individual resident. The science behind this issue is linked to staff-to-patient ratios and workload. Studies have shown that when nursing homes are understaffed or underfunded, residents receive fewer visits from healthcare professionals, which can lead to worse outcomes. Chronic understaffing can result in medical errors, longer response times, and lower overall care quality. Moreover, when staff are overworked, they may be less likely to offer emotional support or even remember specific care needs for individual residents. This lack of personal attention can lead to a diminished quality of life for residents. Here's what I wish Evelyn had known before she moved in. It's crucial to research the staffing levels and the quality of care at the nursing home you're considering. Ask about the nurse-to-patient ratio, the qualifications of the staff, and how frequently residents receive one-on-one attention. It's also important to inquire about the facility's response time for basic needs, like assistance with daily activities, pain management, or urgent medical care. These factors can make a significant difference in the level of care you'll receive. A quick tip: when visiting a nursing home, try to talk to some of the current residents or their families to get a better sense of how responsive and caring the staff is. This firsthand feedback can give you a much clearer picture of the quality of care you can expect. It's important to remember that, while many nursing homes are filled with caring and hardworking staff, the reality of care can sometimes fall short of expectations due to staffing challenges. By asking the right questions and doing thorough research, you can find a facility that provides the high-quality, personalized care that you deserve. Now that we've discussed the quality of care, let's move on to another difficult aspect of nursing home life: the lack of personal space and privacy. Many people don't realize how much they'll miss their own private space until they lose it. Stick with us to learn why having limited privacy in a nursing home can impact your emotional well-being and what you can do to maintain a sense of privacy and dignity in this new chapter of life. Number 4, the lack of personal space and privacy. Let me share the experience of Mr. Henry, an 82-year-old man who had spent much of his life in a spacious home, enjoying the peace and quiet of his own personal space. When he moved into a nursing home, he thought that he would be able to continue living in comfort, with enough room to relax and feel at ease. However, he soon discovered that the lack of personal space and privacy in the facility was one of the most difficult adjustments he had to make. At first, Mr. Henry was placed in a shared room with another resident. While this was common, he wasn't prepared for how much it would affect his sense of independence. The room was small, with just enough space for 2 beds, a small table, and a few personal items. He had no privacy, and the constant presence of another person in such close quarters made him feel exposed and uncomfortable. Even though his roommate was kind, Mr. Henry felt a constant sense of being watched or listened to by someone else. This lack of personal space made him feel less like himself and more like he was just one of many residents in a shared environment. But the lack of privacy extended beyond just the room. Mr. Henry realized that in nursing homes, many activities and routines are shared. Bathing, eating, and even some aspects of personal care were all done in public spaces or with staff members who were often too busy to provide the kind of privacy and dignity he was accustomed to. The lack of space and privacy didn't just affect his physical surroundings, it also impacted his emotional and mental well-being. He felt like he lost a part of his identity as he had to adjust to a communal way of living that didn't allow him to retreat to his own personal sanctuary when he needed it. Why does the lack of personal space and privacy happen in nursing homes? In order to make care more efficient and cost-effective, many nursing homes place multiple residents in shared rooms or semi-private spaces. This is often a result of space limitations or budget constraints. However, the absence of private areas for personal reflection, relaxation, or simply being alone can take a toll on a person's mental and emotional health. When you don't have a space to call your own, it can feel like you're losing your sense of autonomy and dignity. The science behind the importance of personal space and privacy is rooted in the need for autonomy and control over one's environment. Research shows that when individuals, particularly older adults, have control over their space and their routines, they experience less stress and anxiety. Lack of privacy can lead to feelings of helplessness and frustration, and in some cases, it can even contribute to depression. Personal space is vital to maintaining a sense of self and well-being, and when it's taken away, it can cause individuals to feel emotionally drained. Here's what I wish Mr. Henry had known before moving in. It's crucial to ask about the living arrangements in a nursing home, particularly how privacy is handled. Some nursing homes offer private rooms or more personal spaces for residents who need or prefer them, but these options are often more expensive or in limited supply. If privacy is a priority for you, make sure to inquire about the possibility of having a private room or more space. It's also a good idea to ask how the facility handles personal care and whether residents have the opportunity for privacy during routine tasks. A quick tip: when you're considering a nursing home, ask about the room's setup and privacy policies. If possible, schedule a tour and see firsthand how the facility is laid out. Look for places where you can retreat to a private area, whether that's a personal room or a designated quiet space. The science behind the impact of food on health is clear. The right balance of nutrients and vitamins is essential for maintaining physical and mental well-being. Malnutrition in elderly individuals is a real concern, particularly for those in nursing homes. Poor diet can weaken the immune system, increase the risk of infections, and slow down recovery from illnesses. Moreover, eating meals that are satisfying and enjoyable contributes to emotional well-being. When people find pleasure in their meals, they are more likely to maintain a healthy appetite and take in the nutrients they need to stay healthy. Here's what I wish Mr. George had known before moving into the nursing home. It's important to ask about the dining experience before making personal space, and privacy are often overlooked when considering a nursing home, but they're essential to your emotional health. By doing your research and asking the right questions, you can make sure that your living environment respects your need for solitude and independence. Now that we've discussed the lack of privacy, let's move on to another aspect of nursing home life: the lack of engaging activities. Many people expect a vibrant social life in a nursing home, but what happens when that doesn't happen? Stay with us to learn how the lack of stimulating activities can affect your overall well-being and what you can do to make your time more enjoyable. Number 5, the lack of engaging activities. Let me tell you about Mrs. Dorothy, a 70-year-old woman who was full of life and loved keeping busy. She was an avid reader, enjoyed gardening, and had a passion for painting. Before moving into a nursing home, she had an active lifestyle that kept her both mentally and physically engaged. When the time came for her to move into a nursing home, due to mobility issues, she expected that the facility would offer various activities to keep her occupied and stimulated. She hoped to continue pursuing her hobbies, join art classes, or at least participate in some social gatherings that would allow her to meet new people. However, after settling in, Dorothy realized that the activities offered at the nursing home were few and far between. The daily schedule consisted of basic things like meals, a short exercise class, and a few games of bingo, but none of them seemed to match her interests. There were no art classes, no opportunities to work on her gardening skills, and the reading room was often too quiet and isolating. She felt the absence of the activities that once brought her joy, and as the days passed, she started feeling increasingly bored and disconnected. Why is the lack of engaging activities such a problem in nursing homes? Many nursing homes offer a limited range of activities due to budget constraints or a lack of staff, which makes it difficult to cater to the diverse needs and interests of residents. While some facilities do try to organize social events, like movie nights or music performances, these can often feel impersonal or repetitive, and not everyone enjoys the same type of activity. For someone like Mrs. Dorothy, whose interests were specific and creative, the lack of options left her feeling frustrated and unfulfilled. The science behind the importance of engaging activities is tied to the concept of mental stimulation. Engaging in hobbies, learning new skills, or participating in social activities helps keep the brain active and can even reduce the risk of cognitive decline. Research has shown that older adults who engage in meaningful activities have a better quality of life and experience less depression and anxiety. On the other hand, prolonged periods of boredom and inactivity can lead to feelings of isolation and even contribute to mental health issues. Here's what I wish Mrs. Dorothy had known before moving into the nursing home. It's important to research the activities offered by a facility before deciding to move in. Ask about the variety of programs and classes they offer and whether they tailor activities to residents' interests. Does the nursing home have a library, art classes, exercise programs, or opportunities for creative expression? If engaging activities are important to you, make sure the nursing home can provide options that match your personal interests and needs. A quick tip: when considering a nursing home, take a tour and ask about the specific activities that are available for residents. Are there opportunities for creative expression, fitness, or hobbies that you enjoy? If the facility doesn't offer many activities that appeal to you, it may be worth considering other options that provide a more diverse range of activities. The lack of engaging activities can have a serious impact on your emotional and mental health. By choosing a nursing home that offers a variety of activities that align with your interests, you can ensure that you stay stimulated, connected, and happy. Now that we've talked about the lack of activities, let's move on to another important aspect of nursing home life: the quality of food and dining experience. It's easy to underestimate how much food can impact your well-being, but when you're in a nursing home, the quality of meals becomes a central part of your life. Stay with us to learn how the food in nursing homes can affect your health and what you can do to improve your dining experience. Number 6, the quality of food and dining experience. Let me share the experience of Mr. George, a 74-year-old man who had always enjoyed good food throughout his life. He was a passionate home cook, loved preparing meals for his family, and took pride in the quality and flavor of what he ate. When he moved into a nursing home after his health started to decline, he assumed that he would still be able to enjoy satisfying meals. However, George quickly realized that the food served in the nursing home was not what he had expected. The meals were often bland, overcooked, and lacked variety. What George didn't anticipate was how much the quality of food would affect his overall well-being. At first, George tried to make the best of it. He thought that he could get used to the food, but soon he found himself skipping meals and losing interest in eating. The food served was tasteless, with very little seasoning or flavor, and there were limited choices for someone with dietary restrictions like George. He missed the flavors of his favorite homemade dishes and found himself feeling more sluggish as a result of eating meals that lacked nutritional value. It was not just about the food, it was about how it made him feel, disconnected and unsatisfied. Why is the quality of food such an important issue in nursing homes? The truth is, many nursing homes serve meals that are mass-produced to save time and cost, and this often leads to food that lacks both flavor and nutritional balance. Additionally, nursing homes often offer limited choices in terms of meal options, which can be problematic for residents with specific dietary needs. When food isn't appealing or nutritious, it can lead to malnutrition, weight loss, and a decline in health. For someone like George, whose love of food was a central part of his identity, the lack of tasty, nourishing meals contributed to a loss of joy in everyday life. A decision to move in. Does the facility offer a variety of meal choices that meet different dietary needs? How often is the menu changed, and do they provide meals that are flavorful and appealing? It's also worth asking if they accommodate preferences for fresh, whole foods, or if the food is prepared in a way that preserves its nutritional content and taste. A quick tip: when considering a nursing home, try to get a feel for the food by visiting during meal times. Observe how the food is served, the variety of options, and if residents seem to be enjoying their meals. Ask to see the menu and inquire about how dietary restrictions, such as low sodium or gluten-free, are handled. If food is a big part of your life, make sure to choose a facility that values quality meals and takes dietary preferences seriously. The food and dining experience in nursing homes can have a significant impact on your overall health and satisfaction. A good meal can bring comfort, pleasure, and nourishment, while a poor meal experience can affect your emotional and physical well-being. By being proactive and asking the right questions, you can ensure that the food served at your nursing home supports your health and happiness. Now that we've covered the quality of food, let's talk about another important aspect of nursing home life: the lack of personal agency and the emotional toll it takes. How does it feel to lose the ability to make simple decisions for yourself? Stay tuned to learn more about how losing control over daily decisions can affect your mental well-being. Number 7, the loss of personal agency. Feeling like you've lost control. Let me introduce you to Mr. Arthur, a 76-year-old man who had lived a very independent life. He had been a successful businessman, and he prided himself on making his own decisions, managing his daily routine, and leading an active life on his terms. But after a series of health setbacks, Arthur moved into a nursing home to get the care he needed. He thought it would be a temporary arrangement, something that would allow him to recover and return to a more independent life. However, what Arthur didn't anticipate was the overwhelming feeling of losing control over his own life. The more time he spent in the nursing home, the more he realized how little control he had over even the smallest aspects of his daily routine. Arthur quickly found that in the nursing home, decisions about his day were no longer his to make. His wake-up time, meal times, medication schedule, and even the activities he could participate in were all predetermined. The staff had their own way of doing things, and while their intentions were good, Arthur felt like a passive observer in his own life. For someone who had always made his own choices, this loss of personal agency was difficult to accept. At first, it was just minor inconveniences. He couldn't choose when to take a walk or decide when he wanted to eat. But over time, these small losses began to compound, making him feel like he had become a prisoner of the system. Why does the loss of personal agency happen in nursing homes? The reality is that many nursing homes operate under strict routines and schedules to ensure that residents receive proper care and attention. These routines help with organization, but they often leave little room for flexibility. The goal is to provide structure, but this can come at the expense of personal freedom. When residents are not allowed to make decisions about their daily lives, they can feel like they've lost their sense of identity and independence. This feeling of helplessness can lead to frustration, resentment, and even depression. The science behind this loss of agency is rooted in the need for autonomy. Research has shown that maintaining a sense of control and independence is vital for mental health and emotional well-being, especially for older adults. When people lose the ability to make choices about their lives, it can lead to feelings of helplessness and anxiety. This loss of autonomy is linked to higher rates of depression and cognitive decline, making it even more important to ensure that residents in nursing homes feel empowered to make decisions when possible. Here's what I wish Arthur had known before moving into the nursing home. It's essential to assess the level of autonomy a facility provides before making a decision to move in. Some nursing homes allow residents more flexibility in terms of daily routines, while others have more rigid schedules. If personal freedom and independence are important to you, make sure the nursing home you're considering respects that. Ask about the daily schedule, how decisions are made, and whether there's any flexibility for individual preferences. Number 8, the struggle to form meaningful social connections. Let me share the story of Mrs. Margaret, an 80-year-old woman who had lived a vibrant and active life until health issues led her to move into a nursing home. Margaret had always been surrounded by a wide circle of friends and family. She was known for hosting gatherings, volunteering at her local church, and keeping up with her children and grandchildren. However, when she moved into the nursing home, she quickly found that the reality of socializing in such an environment was not as easy as she had imagined. At first, Margaret was hopeful. She thought that living in a nursing home would provide opportunities to meet new people and form bonds with others who were going through similar experiences. But as time went on, she realized that forming deep, meaningful relationships was much harder than she thought. While there were plenty of other residents around, most were either too frail or too ill to engage in conversations or activities. Many were focused on their own health issues, leaving Margaret with little to connect to. She attended group activities, but they felt impersonal and repetitive. The activities were often focused on physical exercises or simple entertainment, with little room for the kind of deep connections that Margaret had once enjoyed with her friends and family. Even during mealtimes, which she thought might provide an opportunity for interaction, Margaret felt isolated. The dining room was full, but the noise and commotion made it difficult to have any meaningful conversations. Some residents would sit quietly, others were distracted by their health problems, and there was little effort to encourage socialization. Margaret missed the conversations and laughter that came with shared meals in her home. It was as if the vibrant, connected community she once knew had been replaced with a sterile and disconnected environment. Why is forming meaningful connections so difficult in a nursing home? In a nursing home, the residents are often at various stages of physical and cognitive decline, making socialization a challenge. Some residents may be unable to communicate effectively, while others may not have the energy or inclination to engage with their peers. The busy nature of nursing homes can also create a feeling of disconnection. With structured schedules and limited opportunities for spontaneous interaction, it can be hard to form genuine friendships. Moreover, when most residents are dealing with health issues, the focus often shifts toward medical care, and there's little attention given to fostering personal relationships or a sense of community. The science behind the importance of social connection is profound. Research has shown that maintaining strong social ties is critical for mental and emotional well-being, particularly as we age. People who are socially connected tend to have better physical health, lower rates of depression, and a greater sense of purpose in life. In fact, social isolation can have the opposite effect, leading to an increased risk of cognitive decline, poor mental health, and even physical health problems. Having meaningful interactions with others helps individuals feel valued, supported, and engaged with the world around them. When someone moves into a nursing home, they're not just transitioning into a new living space. they're adjusting to a new social environment. This change can be difficult, especially if the nursing home does not provide adequate opportunities for social interaction. For Mrs. Margaret, the lack of genuine friendships and connections left her feeling isolated and lonely, even though she was surrounded by people. Here's what I wish Mrs. Margaret had known before making the decision to move into the nursing home. It's important to ask about the social dynamics of the facility and how they promote social interaction among residents. Some nursing homes provide various opportunities for socializing, such as arts and crafts classes, music nights, book clubs, or volunteer work that can foster a sense of community. Ask about the social programs in place and how often residents have the opportunity to participate in these activities. Additionally, consider the layout of the facility. Does it encourage interaction between residents? Are there common spaces where people can gather, or is everyone confined to their rooms? A quick tip: when visiting a nursing home, take note of the social environment. Observe how residents interact with each other during meal times, activities, or casual conversations. If possible, talk to some of the residents about their experience with socializing in the home. Are they happy with the level of interaction they have, or do they feel isolated? This feedback can give you valuable insight into what the social life in the facility will be like. Social connections are a vital aspect of a happy, fulfilling life. In a nursing home, it's important to not only have access to physical care, but also to feel emotionally supported by a community of people. Without these meaningful relationships, it's easy to feel disconnected, lonely, and unfulfilled. A quick tip: when visiting a nursing home, ask about the facility's policies regarding residents' personal agency. Are you allowed to make decisions about your daily routine, or are you expected to follow a set schedule? Look for a facility that provides a balance of care and flexibility, allowing residents to maintain a sense of independence. Losing control over your life can have a profound impact on your mental and emotional health. It's important to find a nursing home that allows you to maintain as much autonomy as possible, helping you feel like you are still in control of your life, even in a care setting. Now that we've discussed the loss of personal agency, let's move on to another aspect of nursing home life: the quality of social interactions. How does living in a nursing home affect your ability to form real, meaningful connections with others? Stay with us to learn why social relationships are vital for your well-being and what you can do to foster them in a nursing home environment. So as we've explored today, the reality of living in a nursing home can be very different from what many people expect. The experiences of loneliness, the loss of personal freedom, the struggles with the quality of care, and the emotional toll of not having personal space or meaningful connections are just a few of the challenges that many elderly individuals face in these environments. While nursing homes are meant to provide care, security, and companionship, they often fall short in ways that can deeply affect your mental and emotional well-being. Emotional well-being. What I've shared today is based on personal experiences and the real stories of individuals like Mrs. Margaret and Mr. George, who thought nursing homes would be a safe haven, only to find that their lives became more isolated and less fulfilling than they imagined. It's important to remember that each nursing home is different, and the quality of care and the atmosphere can vary greatly. If you're considering a nursing home for yourself or a loved one, it's crucial to do thorough research, ask the right questions, and understand what life will truly be like before making such an important decision. But here's the good news: it's never too late to make informed choices. By carefully evaluating a facility's services, social opportunities, personal space, and the level of autonomy you'll have, you can find a place that feels more like a home rather than just a care facility. And even in the most challenging environments, you can take steps to create a more fulfilling life by advocating for yourself, seeking out activities that align with your interests, and finding ways to stay socially connected, whether within the facility or outside of it. I hope my story has shed light on the things no one tells you about living in a nursing home. I encourage you to share this video with others who might be considering nursing home care or are navigating this difficult decision. Let's continue to have open, honest conversations about the realities of aging and how we can create environments that truly support our well-being. Remember, your quality of life and happiness are important. No matter where you live, you deserve a place that respects your autonomy, fosters meaningful relationships, and provides the care you need. Stay proactive, ask questions, and never settle for less than you deserve. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you have any thoughts or experiences to share, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and haven't yet liked and subscribed, now is the perfect time to do so. It really helps our channel grow and reach more people who need this kind of helpful content. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you'll always know when a new video is up. Your support truly means the world to us. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.